Hi, my name is Cassie, and I am a mom of four, five, um, when my bonus kid is in town. I um, have not been a Christian all my life. Before being a mom, I didn't really know a lot about believing in God or the stories of God or the Bible. Um, my parents came from grandparents that were really religious and took them to church, and they did not come from the same religious background. And so they always felt like we should be able to choose when we're older where we want to go. So they never forced us to go to a church. They never really brought us to a church. I think we only went to a church a couple of times, and it was because their friends had invited us. And we didn't stay very long. I think I also went to church with a few friends. Like if I slept over at their house and they went to church on Sundays, I went with them. But it wasn't something that I really paid attention to. I was there for like the fun stuff. I enjoyed the singing, even if I didn't know the words. And to like hang out with my friends, I didn't really cue into the things going on or the stories. And I used to be really embarrassed about it because like I didn't know the story of Noah's Ark until I was a teenager. And that's something that, most people tell their kids. It's like a kid's Bible story that's told, but I didn't know a lot about it. And people used to ask me if I was going to go to church when I was older, and I just always told them, the God thing isn't really me. I don't really do the God thing. And, that's what I refer to it as, the God thing. But then as I had children and I got older and I have come to know myself more and have matured, um, I have come to my belief in God and my understanding of life and where my faith is. And it's been a journey. And there's so many things that I don't know. I have not read the Bible yet. I have read scriptures, obviously, with like Bible studies or like at church. A lot of it's really confusing to me because I don't really know what's going on. I don't really know what they're talking about. So it's hard for me there are scriptures that really hit me, ones that I can understand for what they are. But then there are other ones that I'm struggling with. And I feel like it would be better if I read the Bible because then as I keep going, everybody says the more that you read it, every time you read it, it's a different experience. You will have a deeper understanding. You understand more. So I thought, why not start that journey? I do have friends that have been Christians all their lives, and I have refrained from asking a lot of questions sometimes just because I'm so embarrassed about where I am at, which is not ideal. I mean, you shouldn't be embarrassed about your relationship and where you're at with God. Everybody has a different relationship and understanding of Him. But I thought, why don't I read the Bible? Because I found this app where it reads it to you, and I have a better time listening to things than trying to read it myself. Like, I love to read books, but the Bible is a hard read, and I figured it might be easier listening to it than reading it myself. So I was telling my friend different parts of where I'm at in the Bible. And she said, you should do a series of this where you explain the stories in your own words and your understanding of it, because you might help somebody who's struggling as well, and somebody might be right where you're at in your journey. So I thought, you know what, that's a good idea. So I'm going to be telling the stories of each chapter of the Bible in my own words and to my understanding of it. Now, it might not be accurate. It might not be I might not be emphasizing the things that should be emphasized. So if there's something that I'm missing, something that I'm not understanding correctly, please feel free to let me know. I would like to know more. I would like to know if I am misunderstanding something. But I hope that you enjoy this faith journey as much as I do. So to start, of course, we're going to go from the beginning. And I'm going to start with Genesis chapter 1, the creation of the world. Now, from my understanding, he created heaven and earth. And before that, there was a darkness and like a void. And then he said the very famous line that I've heard, even not being very religious in my life, let there be light. And then he created light as day and darkness as night. And from my understanding, there was like waters and void, and he separated the waters from the elevated area, and the elevated area became heaven. And then he separated the waters, and they became seas, and he created land. And then after he created land, he created plants that vegetate the land. And he's very specific in saying they vegetated and had seeds for their own kind. Very specific wording for each thing that he creates is something with their own kind. He then created the seasons, the changing seasons, and then he created the sun and the moon. And then he also created the sea creatures, obviously, to inhabit the sea, the birds, and the wording that I love that they, I don't know why, it just like the things that creep, things that live on the earth that creep. So all the living things that are of land. And God said he blessed them and wanted them to go forth and multiply. He wanted them to go have lots of babies and make even more of them. And then God created man. He wanted to create man in his own image. And he wanted us to be in charge over the creatures of the land and sea, and like the birds, that we were like in charge and held dominion over them. He created man and woman and wanted us to also be fruitful and multiply. So have lots of babies and work hard. It says that he also gave every seeded plant on the earth for our food. And for those 6 days, there was morning and evening. And then Genesis chapter 2, on the 7th day he rested. And because he rested from all the works. And in the first chapter, at the end of each thing that he created, it said, and then he saw that it was good. And I don't know if that means that he was like, it's good, there's no evil, or so far, or if he was like, it's good as in like it passes the vibe check. I'm not really sure. Please help. But chapter 2, he rested on the 7th day, and because he rested on the 7th day from all the work that he did, he blessed it and made it holy, which is Sundays, which is God's day, which is why we go to church on Sundays. And then it said that he took the dust from the earth that had not been rained on yet or worked yet and created man. And specifically, it said breathed life into his nostrils. That is a very specific area to breathe life into. All I'm saying is that is very specific. And then, don't mind me, I have allergies. Then he said, God created Eden, which is a garden to the east, and he put man there. He created this garden, he put man there. And this garden had like all the trees with all the things, and it included the tree of life and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, apparently. And there was a river that flowed through Eden, and it separated into 4 different rivers. They are very important. One of them, like, had gold in it, I guess. I'm not sure. And then he wanted man to take care of it and keep it and work in it to make Eden prosper. And he was allowed to eat any of the fruit from any of the trees except for the knowledge tree. And he was like, bro, you eat that, you're dead. So maybe don't eat that because you'll die. And man was like, okay. He was then worried that man would feel lonely. He was worried about our well-being, loneliness. And so he brought all of the creatures that he had made in front of man and was like, what you want to call these? And every name that the man picked out, he was like, all right, that's it. Those are the names for the things. So man named the creatures, which I think is interesting. But apparently none of them were the right helper for him. So then he was like, I'm going to put you to sleep. We're going to put you in a light coma. I'm going to just steal your rib. I'm going to just take that out of there, out of your chest cavity. And I'm going to make a woman out of it. That's what I'm going to do. That's where you're at. And apparently, because she was taken out of a man, that is why we are called women. So I guess that's why, like, it says in the Bible that when the son leaves his parents and he gets married, they become one. They are one flesh. So they become one. And they were also, it says in the end that they were both naked, but they didn't know that they were naked. They thought everything was chill. They did not have the knowledge that naked was naked. So yeah, that is my account of the first 2 chapters. If I'm missing something, if I am not emphasizing the correct things, please let me know. Other than that, I appreciate your time, and I hope that you enjoyed my account of the first 2 chapters. It definitely gets more interesting from here, because there's a lot that happens in Genesis, I guess. So we'll just have to find that out together. Yep.